Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I the Jerk for Expecting My Daughter to Pay Me and My Wife Back for Her Uber? My daughter is 16. She went out last week with her friends, and some people my daughter doesn't like showed up. My daughter called my wife and said that she was uncomfortable and asked my wife to pick her up. My wife was in an appointment, and I was at work, so my wife called her an Uber. Every time my wife or I call her an Uber, she's had to pay us back, so when my daughter got home, I asked her for the money. She asked me what I was talking about and said that my wife said that she didn't have to pay us back. I asked my wife why she told her daughter that she didn't have to pay us back, and she was surprised that I asked. She said that she wasn't going to charge our daughter for getting out of a situation that she was uncomfortable with. We got into an argument about it because an Uber isn't cheap, and I don't think my daughter not wanting to be around certain people justifies having to pay for an Uber. She took our daughter out to eat, and she won't talk to me, so I wanted to know if I was a jerk. What do you folks think? Do you think that this OP is a jerk or no? You know what I'm kind of inclined to think here? I'm inclined to think that if your child is in a situation that they're uncomfortable with, then you should do your best to get them out of that situation. And I don't think that OP should be charging his daughter to get out of an uncomfortable situation. There isn't a lot of information here about why she doesn't like these people. And it could be that the daughter has had some unpleasant experiences with them, trying to get her to do things that she doesn't want to do, or she's not comfortable with, or, violating her boundaries, or any number of things. So I think it's important for OP to listen to his daughter and, not charge her to get her out of a bad situation, because all that's going to do is, discourage her in the future from trying to get out of a situation which may not be very good. So yeah, I don't think you should put a monetary penalty on this because she was uncomfortable with it. So anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk so much. Your daughter trusts you enough to get her out of a situation where she's uncomfortable, responsible enough to ask, and you want to charge her for it? Why? Why would you essentially penalize your daughter for being open with you? Seriously, you're the jerk. Imagine the next time that she's feeling uncomfortable and suddenly she remembers that she can't come to you anymore. What kind of situation will she find herself in then? Plus, your wife wanted to come and pick her up, but she was unable to do so. So it's not just your daughter's wanting a ride. Your wife also wanted to get her a ride. I imagine your wife wouldn't have charged her if she wasn't in an appointment and had been able to go get her. You're the jerk. Your desire to charge your daughter for making good choices is wrong-headed at best. You should want to encourage her ability to remove herself from a situation that she feels is risky or makes her uncomfortable. Charging her for this is going to discourage her from reaching out for help. Young women learn to be sensitive to people who are threatening or creepy. People who go on to assault others. Her not liking these people could be because, they're hostile, dangerous, or bullying. Your daughter obviously has learned how to draw boundaries. Getting her out of there and ensuring that she's safe and reinforcing the idea that you will always help her stay safe is way more important than the cost of an Uber. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for telling my wife that 24 is not too young to lose a parent? I'm just going to stop this right here. Any age is too young to lose a parent. My wife is 35 and I'm 40. I'm lucky enough to have both of my parents still. My wife unfortunately lost her mother when she was 24. Her mother had been ill for 14 years. It was hard on my wife, no doubt, and I admire her for everything she went through. However, this morning we had breakfast with her family, and the subject of her late mother came up. As often, people would say how awful it was for my wife and her sister because they lost their mom at such a young age. When we came home, my wife and I talked about it, and I told her that 24 isn't that young. It's not old, definitely, but my wife was an adult, and her mother was 52 when she died. It's not like she lost her mom at 12 or 6. To me, losing a parent young is under age 18. My wife is giving me the silent treatment. Alright, OP. What is the point of this gatekeeping? Like, she was over 18, so losing her parent was fine, or, whatnot. It does not take away the hurt. Yes, I mean, certainly if you're a minor and you lose a parent, there are going to be added complications because you're, of course, going to lose a huge portion of your support system. And I think that's what you were going for. But I think the way you've put this and phrased it, sometimes, OP, there are words and phrases and sentences that just do not need to be said. I think you have found yourself in one of those situations. You should learn how to use your filter a little better because that was completely uncalled for. There was nothing to be gained here. She wasn't going to be like, oh, you know what? You made such a great compelling point here. Losing my mom at 24 wasn't young at all. What were you trying to prove here? Were you just trying to get her to not have sympathy from other people? I mean, this seems like a really weird measuring contest, and I just don't understand it. So, yeah, OP, I'm going to have to say that you're definitely the jerk in this situation. Don't say things like this. Don't minimize people's feelings of or events that have happened in their lives. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all I can say there. So, good luck. You're the jerk. 24 is a young age. In most cases, a woman hasn't even gotten married or had a child at that point. Both things that are huge milestones that we want or need our moms for. I'm 38 and I still call my mom for advice about my son. What you essentially said is that it wasn't a big deal that she lost her because it's not like you still needed her. There's also just no reason to say this to her. What does it hurt him to have his wife express pain about losing her mother far earlier than she would have wanted? It doesn't sound like she talks about it daily or whatever, but it comes up, and people express sympathy. So he has to cut that down? Massive, you're the jerk. I hope you're a lot nicer about something because, wow. You're the jerk. 24 is very young to lose a parent. Not to mention, you tried to downplay her grief. 100%, you're the jerk. All right. Our last letter is titled, Am I the jerk for asking my Nana to help me with my security deposit because I can't stand sharing my room anymore? I'm a 17-year-old female and my parents had me young and recently produced a new baby. Baby is now 9 weeks old and my parents have decided that I can share my room with her. It's a 3-bedroom house. Me and the baby are in one room. My 4-year-old brother is in his room and my parents are in theirs. I hate sharing my room with the baby, and I've asked more than once if I can share with my brother instead because he sleeps through the night. My parents have said no each time I've asked, saying that everyone would judge them. Judge them for what? Being nicer people to their daughter? How horrible. So 3 weeks ago, one of my friends said that she was moving out of her house and asked if I would like to move out with her. I work part-time and I'm in an apprenticeship as well. I said I would like to, since I cannot tolerate sharing my room with a baby anymore. I said this to my parents, and at first they got mad because they'll lose a third parent, but eventually accepted that it's not fair for me to share a room with a newborn who's awake at all hours at a time at night. The problem I ran to in moving out is that it's a bit off from the security deposit, and the landlord needs us to move in or at least pay the deposit next week. I need to pay a tiny bit extra so I can bring my cats with me. I'm less than $100 off, but I'm not being paid for another 2 weeks. My Nana covered the cost of my older sister, a 20-year-old female, to deposit when she moved out, so I thought I could ask her first. My Nana couldn't lend it to me, but asked why I was moving out so young, and I explained the reasons why. She got really angry at my parents for the entire situation, saying that I'm 17 and I need privacy, etc., etc. My parents are mad at me for telling my Nana why I'm moving out, and think that I'm a major jerk when I could have just said I'm not spending as much on travel or whatever. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP. Your parents, if they can't handle the truth, if they think that you need to lie to your aunt and obscure the truth about why you want to move out, then they clearly know what they're doing here is wrong and manipulative. And the whole losing a third parent thing you say is pretty revealing here. It seems like they've moved the baby into your room very much purposely. Why didn't they have the baby in their room? So your room was the only one available. And I mean, you also said, oh, hey, I'll move in with my little brother. And that probably would be perfectly acceptable. I mean, it would be a little less privacy, but I mean, at least then you wouldn't have to be woken up in the middle of the night. So I really honestly can't blame you here, OP. You didn't say, you probably didn't realize that this was going to be a big deal to tell your aunt that you were moving out because you can't stand sharing a room with a baby, and your parents wanting you to lie to cover them is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So no, not the jerk. Your parents are huge jerks. Not the jerk. You told your Nana the truth. You're not responsible for how she reacts, and you weren't obligated to lie. Exactly. And why aren't they keeping the newborn in their room? Is OP caring for it at night? I'm imagining so. Not the jerk. You had the decency to tell the truth to the lady who's lending you cash. Why is the baby not sharing with your folks? Surely at 9 weeks old, this is more practical and a safer option. Definitely not the jerk. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.